Hi, I'm Aaron Wilson, and today I'll be teaching you how to warm up your voice. So, before I start, why warm up your voice? Well, believe it or not, vocal warm-ups are actually useful for people other than singers or actors like myself. In fact, teachers, anybody giving a presentation, or basically anyone who would have to use their voice for a long period of time can benefit from a vocal warm-up beforehand. So, for this activity, you don't really need anything other than just yourself. But if you have one, a bottle of water might be useful, as I've found that helps to make warming up a lot easier, as well as get rid of any kind of foolishness that might be going on with your vocal cords. So before you do anything with the voice, the first thing you want to do is kind of work out any kind of tension that you might have in your body. Now, of course, it's not like you're preparing for a marathon, so you don't need to do any extensive stretching or anything like that, but anything that might be a little tense, you might want to get rid of, as that tension can get into your vocal cords and cause all kinds of stress there. So, I like to do a couple of neck rolls, maybe a few shoulder rolls, just anything that you personally feel might be a little tight or tired from anything you might have been doing the day before. You're going to want to do that to try and loosen it up and get yourself ready to, use your voice. So, once you're done warming up your body a little bit, stretching out those little tight areas, doesn't have to be for very long at all, not even a minute's really necessary. You want to move on to try and work on activating your breath. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a really specific way that you're supposed to breathe whenever you're speaking or anything of that nature. And it's by breathing in the diaphragm. Most of us actually breathe here in the chest. I'll show it for you right now. See? And the problem with that is that it builds up a lot of tension in this upper area, which, being so close to your throat, is bound to cause a bit of tension when you're speaking or trying to project or singing, anything that you could be doing. Whereas if you were to breathe down here in the diaphragm, it supports the voice a lot better and allows the vocal cords to feel a lot more free. So the exercise that you want to start off with is just breathing from down here in your diaphragm and letting the air come right back out. And you want to try to do that in a very continuous motion, almost as if you don't stop once you're done filling up with air. Now, don't just push out your stomach with like any kind of muscle or anything like that. It's better to let the air just fill up that area. Whereas pushing it out with the muscle just causes more tension down there. So just take a couple of deep breaths and just release it as soon as you filled up with air. Do that after you do that a couple of times, you get the air moving and flowing, you feel the connection from down there. You can move on to the next part, which this is going to seem a bit strange, so bear with me. But it's called a lip trill. And to do it, what you do is you take in a deep breath and just kind of blow the air out through your lips. I know that seems really weird looking, but it's actually good at helping you to get the air out there, which, to be honest, the faster you get your air out, the better you'll be able to project. So it's actually a pretty useful little technique to help you activate your breath and get it out there. So, just take a deep breath in the same way that you blow it out without pushing it through your lips. You do it the same way. As soon as you fill up with air, just do that and keep going until, you get that kind of flow going in there. You usually don't need to take too long doing that. It's just something to get your diaphragm and your breath activated. So, once you're done warming up your breath and getting your diaphragm ready to work, then comes warming up the voice. Now again, this is really good for projection, if you're going to sing or you're going to present something to a class. This can actually be really useful for you. So, first thing you want to make sure that you do is that when you speak, again, breathe down from the diaphragm. You don't want to breathe up here because again, it causes tension. So the first thing you want to do is, again, another lip trill. This time, though, you want to kind of go through your entire voice. And again, this is going to seem a little strange, but I'll demonstrate for you now. You take a deep breath. And you basically go through every facet of your voice. You go from the lowest point you can go all the way up to whatever is the highest you'd speak, or in my case, it'd be singing. So the reason why you do that is you want to warm up every part of your voice, because you don't know whether you'll be speaking high or low during a certain part of your presentation, and you want to try and kind of use that to warm up every part of your voice rather than just the bottom of it. And then should you need to speak a little higher to get a point across to a class during a presentation, all of a sudden that top part is a little strained because you didn't warm it up properly. So you want to do that a couple of times, however many times it takes you to kind of warm up your voice. And again, remember that this is your body. So it will take different people a different amount of time to warm up their voice properly. So don't feel the need to rush, really. Give yourself plenty of time to do it. Or if you feel like you've done it enough times where your voice feels like it's ready to move on to the next step, then go right ahead. The next exercise is actually a humming exercise. And what you want to do here is, first of all, you want to loosen up your jaw a bit. So a little massage right where the hinge of your jaw meets the top of your mouth. And you just want to loosen that up a little, and once it's nice and loose, you want to take a deep breath again. And when you have the full breath, you want to close your mouth and basically hum. Make sure that when you're humming, though, you keep your teeth separated rather than kind of clenched together, because again, that's tension. You don't want that. And by doing so, it'll keep everything flowing very nicely and calmly. So just do basically what you did with the lip trill, but this time with a hum. And you just take in a deep breath. And that kind of works through everything and does something a bit more active rather than just blowing air through your lips or doing a lip trill like I did before. And again, this is all kind of working up in steps to kind of build your voice to the place where it needs to be in order for you to perform properly whenever you're singing or speaking or anything like that. So once you've kind of done both the lip trill and the hum exercise, you can move on to actually phonating as if you'd be speaking or singing. So what I normally do is I take a vowel, and my personal favorite is ah, but you can use any vowel that you want. I'd prefer one that's a bit more open rather than something that's closed like E or U, as I feel like that kind of gets the sound flowing a bit more. And you can just basically go through your voice again, this time on something that, again, is closer to speaking than humming or a lip trill. So you take a deep breath. And you basically just keep doing that. Make sure that when you're doing it, though, that again, you're breathing from the diaphragm and you're just letting it go out. But you shouldn't feel any tension here, contrary to what you might believe. Any kind of tension or pain here is definitely a bad thing. You don't want that. You want to fill up your diaphragm with air and kind of support from down here. That way, all the tension in your throat's just gone and your voice goes. And that goes for when you're actually speaking, too. As well, by supporting from your diaphragm takes any kind of tension away from the cords, and it'll actually allow you to project and even just sound better in general. So you do that as many times as you need to. Again, some people may take longer than others. And then the final exercise I kind of do is going through multiple vowels. And how I would do that is you pick one tone at first. So any tone would be this one. And upon picking that tone, you start with the vowel ah, and then you go through to e, o, and u. And what this will do is it'll allow you to kind of warm up your voice and feel what vowels might be a little tight and trying to loosen up and get your sound free. So, I'll demonstrate it for you now. You take a deep breath, as always, make sure that it's coming from the diaphragm, not up here. You don't want the tension in your cords. So just take a deep breath. And when you're done, you want to move up to different parts of your voice. So you want to try and get to the next note or anything like that. Now, of course, there are going to be people who aren't quite as musically inclined. It's not really important that you hit the same note per se as that you go through all different parts of your voice on the different vowels. That way you kind of get ready to actually speak words. So, and another thing that I didn't mention before, with all these different vocal kind of warm-ups and tricks and exercises, you don't want to necessarily be loud. If you can be loud, I mean, that's fine. But you don't want to be loud and kind of hurt your voice if that's what you're doing. If you can only do it like quietly and anything like that, that's perfectly fine. Actually, it's preferred that you do that because, again, it's not important how nice you sound necessarily when you're warming up your voice or how loud you can be or how high you can go. It's really more about simply getting your instrument, your voice, ready to work. In the same way that an athlete would warm up his body before he runs or plays a game of basketball or something like that. So again, remember, everybody is at their own level as far as how long they need to warm up or how long they need to do that exercise. But with that exercise in particular, you want to make sure that you go through every part of your voice. So I'm going to take a quick drink of water and I'll show you what I mean again. So again, as always, breathe from the diaphragm, not the chest. You get the point. You basically try and go through every part of your voice, both low, I, O, and high. But again, you don't need to necessarily hit the notes exactly on pitch. Just try to stay within the general region of the first note that you start on and kind of work through it easily in every part of your voice. Even if you know you're jumping a little more than what I was doing, mine was like very slight. But even if it's like starting low, like I, O, and then jumping up to like I, O, that's still warming up from the lower part of your register to the middle part of your register. And again, it's very important that you warm up every part of your voice, as leaving any part of your voice a little untested or unwarmed up can actually affect it later should you need to go higher or lower for whatever reason. And again, the breath is key, breath from the diaphragm, as always. So that's pretty much all my vocal exercises. Remember, it's your body, so don't think that you have to do things in a specific way. What I'm giving you is more of kind of a baseline to kind of get you to, think about what's best for your voice and kind of warm it up in different ways if you don't know how to. So yeah, I'm sure there are going to be plenty of you who are looking at me like, oh, I don't want to do those lip trills. Well, you don't have to necessarily do everything that I did. It's your body. Whatever works best for you is what works for you. Now, if lip trills you feel just make you look silly as opposed to actually doing anything to work everything out, then you can use just blowing in and out. Or you can go straight from the lip, just doing regular breathing exercises to the humming exercise. Really, whatever you feel works best for you, that's what you should do. However, it's important that you warm up both your body just a little bit, just to get the tension out. You take some time to warm up the breath in whatever way you feel is best for you, and that you take time to actually gently warm up the voice. As again, you need to do every part of this in order to kind of get your voice ready to work. A couple of tips and advice for you. You don't want to feel any kind of tension or pain here when you're speaking or anything like that. And the primary reason why you might feel something like that is because you're not taking your breath from the diaphragm as usual. It's harder to do than it sounds because we normally speak, just kind of taking any old breath we can take. But when you're presenting, at least, or doing anything that might require a bit more vocal power, be it teaching a lesson, making a video like this, you want to try and breathe from down here and send the sound out a bit more. See, now when you're just taking a breath from any old place, your voice kind of goes down here, it gets a little gravelly, and if you talk like this for an hour, you're not going to have much left. So try and just take the breath and send it out there. And remember, if you're feeling any kind of pain or tension here, other than, if you have a sore throat, in which in that case, the pain's going to be there, unfortunately, it means that you're putting tension in your vocal cords rather than letting the air kind of free that up. And that's something you don't want. So you want to make absolutely certain that you're not feeling any pain there. And let's see. Also, make sure that you give yourself a bit of time to warm up. Like me, I'm spoiled because I'm a singer, but I usually need like maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes to warm up. You may not be like me. You might need only 5 minutes to warm up your voice, or maybe 10. Or maybe you don't even really need to go through like all the exercises. Maybe just a couple of hums will be what you need to do, like something you can do quietly right before you get up to present in front of a class. That works too. Really, anything that works for you in warming your voice up, that's what you should go with. And if you needed a little extra time, because like some friends that I know, there are some friends who like take half-hour warm-ups, and I know some professionals who like professional singers or actors who warm up for like hours. I don't know if you'd really need that per se, but if you need that extra time, just go for it. And even if you don't have time to warm up necessarily right before you go up for a presentation or something like that, if you wake up and you have a couple of minutes, just stretch out, take a couple of deep breaths, and warm up your voice for a little bit. You'll be surprised at how it changes up the way you sound and how it can actually help out if you are known to like get a little hoarse by the end of the day or anything like that. So, just do what you feel is best for you as far as your voice. And remember, you really don't want any kind of tension here. You can actually damage your voice permanently the same way someone who would be running or something like that, pulling a muscle or something like that it can really damage your voice if you don't. So I guess really that's about all I have to tell you guys. So thank you for watching. I hope you weren't weirded out too much by my lip trills and stuff, but I hope you found this video fun. I know it's probably not as tasty as some of the other food videos you'll see, but I hope that you can put some of it to good use. And yeah, I'd say that's about it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.